Thank you. Well, thank you for that wonderful welcome. I like this. We got a fired up crowd. We got a lot of happy people tonight, right? Should be a lot of smiles. One part that I find somewhat intriguing, though, I did find a little bit of humor in this. We're at an entrepreneurial event celebrating business success, and you invite a government guy to be your keynote speaker? Well, the main point of that comment is it's not about two different worlds. It's not about saying government's different than business. We are different, but we have a role to play, and we're partners. And that's what's really exciting. That's why I'm excited to be with you tonight, because this is a great chance to celebrate success. And you should be so proud. If you step back and look at where Michigan was. In 2009, we were at the bottom. And we were at the bottom for a long time before that and for a little while after that. And the question is how are we going to get out of this mess? Well, we're moving out of it. We're the comeback state in the United States today because of the partnership we've created. And when I was running for governor, it was interesting. People would come to me and say, gee, we got to bring more big companies into Michigan. You got to do more incentive deals. Are you going to go out and bring these big companies in? Are you going to give them bigger packages to land those companies coming into Michigan by offering them more tax credits and to do all that stuff? And I looked at them. I said, no. And I said, why are you saying that? And they said, well, that's what you do in government. And that was one of the fundamental points. We didn't understand, many people didn't, what the role of government is and why it's there. And when people would say that to me, the answer was so clear. I said, well, how can you say you're not going to do that? Aren't you going to help bring jobs? I said, absolutely. But think about it. As a business person, Business 101 tells you the answer. If you have a challenged business, and we were a challenged state, do you spend your time and resources going after that new customer? Or do you make sure the customers you have are supported the best way possible? And you stand up for them, and you take care of them. And instead of hunting, you do economic gardening, and you do it as well as possible. And so a big part was simply defining a role, which is threefold, three key principles that I live by. The first one is, you're the customer. You hired me to give great customer service to the citizens and organizations of the state of Michigan. And my role is to say, do you feel you made a good purchase decision? And I know when tax day comes, you don't think that way or feel that way. But that's what it's about. Did you buy the right amount of government, education, public safety, the things that we are unique providers of? So the way I view life is, you're the customer. The second thing is how we operate. Relentless positive action. No blame, no credit. Let's just solve the problem. What's the next problem? Use common sense and be relentless in the application of those principles. It works. Blame has never solved the problem. And then to operate in dog years. And I got the dog year concept, 7-to-1 relationship, because I'd been an entrepreneur. Everyone here that's a successful entrepreneur works and lives in dog years. Because every day is urgent, right? That's the difference between succeeding and not being in business. Is to do something special with urgency and high quality. So those are the principles we brought to the table. But then we also defined our role. Our role is not to create the jobs, but to create an environment for you to be successful. And that gets to simple things. Tax reform, getting rid of the dumbest tax in the United States, the Michigan business tax, was the starting point. But it goes on from there. Regulatory reform, all different kinds of reforms. I'm not going to go through that whole list. Hopefully you can see the benefit of all that. But it is that customer relationship. And why should we give you, say, great customer service? You are the customer. But you do something else really special. When people ask about the economic comeback, and I talk about over 200,000 private sector jobs being created since the low point, it comes from you. You're the job creators. I mean, I would be terrified if we all worked for the state of Michigan. And so should you. You're out creating jobs. And so one question I want to ask, who here is part of an organization that sometime this year, already this year, sometime this year, you expect to add at least one job? How many people are in an organization that add at least one job? Give yourself a huge round of applause. Because that's what it's about. The comeback of a state or any economy is based on small and medium-sized businesses, creating jobs, being successful. And so I'm here to say thank you to you for the hard work you're doing in making Michigan's economic comeback happen. And I want to thank the sponsors, the founders that made this event happen. Because part of that work, this is really hard starting a company. I've done multiple startups. I know what it's like to sign a paycheck. I know what it's like to say you may not get a paycheck or have the lights on if you don't do some things to keep the business going. Those are really tough things. So it's important when you see that success, you celebrate it. So congratulations to all the winners tonight. And all the winners that are getting awards, but every small business here is a winner. Being in business, serving a customer, you're all winners. And that's really exciting. But that's part of the philosophy, is we need to keep going. For all the success Michigan's having so far, I'm not complacent nor content with where we're at. We're only beginning, folks. That's the exciting part. And that's where I need your help. So in addition to being thanking you, one nice role is government. When you get an opportunity, you ask people for more in terms of help. You're doing the job creation part, but something else I could ask your help on is spread the word. Every one of you here is an ambassador for the state of Michigan. You're an ambassador for your community. And for all those people I ask, who's going to create a job this year, the question I'd ask you is were you loud and proud and told someone about how you created that job? Because you should. Just think about it. You've created a livelihood for a family. That's something special in addition to having great products and services and making a good living yourself. And we need to spread the word that all the success, all the great support networks through the different organizations that help sponsor this, all their assistance to you, all the supporting organizations, all your hard work has accumulated in helping someone have a better family life. And shouldn't we go out and tell people that? So what I'm asking you tonight is to get away from that old Michigan. Because one of the things that drove me to run for governor was I believe we became too negative. We got too down on ourselves. And so one of my greatest challenges, the hardest part of my job, is to make a positive culture in Michigan, is to make it positive, forward-looking, and inclusive, and really paint the picture and get people to believe that Michigan's brightest future is ahead of us. Because I believe it absolutely is. We should be proud of a number of things in the past, but our best days are ahead of us. But that's not me doing this alone. Now, if you're thinking about creating a marketing campaign, I know some of these great small businesses are marketing companies. What kind of profile do you need if you want to take a message out in terms of something new, or the tech companies? What do you need? You need the early adopters. You need those passionate people that aren't afraid to go where other people haven't gone, that are willing to spread a message with passion, with fire, excitement, to see a vision, to take that vision, to make it tangible, to paint that picture of making it real for other people. Now, who are the best people at doing that if you think about our society? Well, let me think. The first name that pops to mind is not politician or governor. It's entrepreneur. You are on the forefront of reinventing Michigan. And we are at a unique moment in time. You may not realize it, but let me share a simple fact, a couple facts with you, to recognize this is not normal times in Michigan. One chart, I only keep 2 charts on my wall in addition to our dashboard. And one of those charts points out what drove me to run for governor. It showed Michigan's percentage of gross national product of the country. In 1965, the state of Michigan accounted for 5.25% of the gross national product of the United States. Think about that, 5.25%. We're 1 out of 50 states. So what does that make the average? 2%. And we were at 5.25%. In 2009, you know what that percentage was? 2.5%. It dropped by more than half. And so when people say we had a lot of cycles, we had a lot of short cycles, but we'd been going downhill for 50 plus years. Guess what? Since 2009, it's been coming back up. It's not coming up super fast, not as fast as I'd like, but that trend line's moving up. So we're not at an ordinary time. We're at that special time where I need the early adopters. I need you to speak up, to be that ambassador, to be that leader, to understand, to spread the word to the rest of Michigan, to your friends, to your neighbors, your colleagues, that this is our opportunity to say, let's make that 50-year run upward. Let's reestablish ourselves as the state to be, as we had done in 2 earlier eras in our history. This is the time for the era of innovation. You do that by having entrepreneurs do great things. So when you look at the challenges of what Michigan needs to do, I'm signed up. I'm fired up. I'm proud to be your governor. But I'm hoping you're joining me in saying, as we celebrate your success as a small business, you can be excited and proud to know you're at the forefront. You're in the leadership of the cadre of people that are going to decide that Michigan's best days are ahead of us. So join me. Get fired up. Celebrate tonight, and let's reinvent Michigan. Thank you so much.